Today's case is one of the top unsolved cases in South Korea, and the family, more than 20 years later, are still searching for the answers to who killed their daughter. Up until around 2017, no one had any clue or idea who might be the suspect, until the victim's brother was put under hypnosis and he described what he saw and heard that day 16 years ago. Could hypnosis really tap into our forgotten and vague memory from years ago? The suspect that the brother described in his hypnosis was the total opposite of who authorities thought might have done it. And is it possible that someone watching this video today will have a new tip? Now, hypnosis in South Korea using for criminal investigation is actually pretty common. I don't know about any other countries, definitely not in America. It's gonna be crazy to learn that our mind is way powerful than we can ever think. Even if you're half asleep or you're just walking by, your brain actually takes like a video recording of everything that's happening surrounding you. I cover all kinds of mystery videos on my channel, not only true crime, but interview with real families, things about mystical and spirituality of our universe. So remember, your like in this video and just commenting on your thoughts today or subscribing is going to really help the algorithm so that we can continue sharing these stories even if it's still unsolved years later. It was February 4th, 2001, a cold early Sunday morning in Busan, South Korea. An important note, Busan is about 5 to 6 hours drive from Seoul. A mother named Miss A would leave her house really early in the morning, around 6:30 a.m., to go to her usual early morning prayers at her church. She went to go pray to ask for prosperity and happiness for her family. Their father, Mr. A, was a security guard, so he had a midnight shift and he would not be coming home until later in the morning. Inside the home would be the mother's two kids. The first one, Kim Sun-hee, was 22 years old. She was in college. And her little brother, Jay, who was in second year of middle school, and he was around 15 years old. They also had an older sister, but she was not living with them at the time. Sun-hee Kim was known to be a very good student. She was good at school, she loved poems, she lived a very simple life, and she was known for her really pretty face. Now, still on the same day, February 4th, just a few hours passed by, and now it was around 7:30 to 8 a.m. And the little brother, Jay, wakes up, and he notices that his sister, Kim, wasn't next to him. Now, the family all slept on the same room because they were trying to save gas money. So Jay wakes up and walks around the house to see if anyone is there. He goes to the bathrooms, to his sister's room, and nobody is home and he's alone. He noticed that his sister, Kim's wallet and phone was still on top of her desk. He thought that his sister was running some errands, so he just started to watch TV, his favorite cartoon, on Sunday morning. There was no way to contact her because she left her cell phone at the house, and the family waited and waited the entire day, but Kim would never return home. It was around 5 p.m. on the same day when a neighborhood lady went on for her usual hike. There was like a little park/forest area where they lived, and the lady claims that she usually goes off trail. It's about 15 minutes from where the houses are. And this particular area, nobody goes there unless you really live in the area and you want to go off trail. There's nobody around there, and the lady could see that she spots a human body on top of a pile of branches because this was a mini wooden area. Of course, she calls for help and the investigation crew gets there. Unfortunately, this happened in 2001, and forensic team in Korea really have upgraded throughout the years, but still back then. So it wasn't the proper protocol of how forensic testings and investigations should have been done. But when police got there, they noticed that this young lady did pass away, and she had large knife wounds to the throat and her abdomen, and later confirming that the cause of death was hypovolemic shock or an immense blood loss. The autopsy also confirmed that there was no bruises, no fight marks, she never fought back, or maybe she didn't have chance to, and there was also no evidence sexual assault. And as you could guess, this lady turned out to be Sun-hee Kim. The next day, police went back to the site and they did find the weapon, which was a knife, just only a couple feet away from where the body was discovered. Interesting enough, the knife was just tossed. It was not buried. It was just as someone just did the deed, tossed it, and left. Police also determined that this most likely happened around 8:20 a.m. The main thing that stood about this case was that when Kim was found, she was still wearing her PJs. Her family confirmed that this was the clothes that she was wearing to sleep. The only thing she did was just throw on a jacket because it was February and it was pretty cold. They also noticed that she wasn't wearing sneakers. I mean, this was like a wooden area, a hiking area. She was wearing her formal heel shoes. Now, these kind of formal shoes you could kind of slip on, maybe go out for like a second and come back. Remember, she also left her wallet and phone on her desk. So this all indicated that she thought she was gonna come back within just a couple minutes or a couple seconds, and she was not planning to go anywhere far, let alone hike to a wooden area. It also indicates that she was not trying to look good in front of anybody, and no crushes, no boyfriend, just someone that she literally ran out in her PJs in. Police confirmed that this was most likely not unaliving, but police said that they found no blood of a second person, no fingerprint, and no significant amount of DNA that they can test to see who did this. Now, this knife, they traced it back to the manufacturer to see like who bought it, and this knife is so common. This is a regular kitchen knife. Apparently it was sold about 8,000 times or more, and nobody who sold it could remember who bought it. And there was no CCTV around this neighborhood because it was not common back then, and no witnesses came forward to say that they saw anyone suspicious. Testing the blood spots, they can tell that Kim was standing up, most likely talking to someone face to face when this happened. And the first hit was to her abdomen where there was the most blood. And the second area that was affected was up here, but this area had no blood, which professionals explained that this was most likely because she was already gone. Her heart has stopped when the suspect stabbed her again. Professionals are surprised about is the fact that the wounds were so clean and deep. Like, you really have to have some kind of hatred toward this person to do this in such a clean and deep way. This was all the limited information that they have, and they can only guess that Kim had to follow someone that she knew really well and trusted to wake up in the middle of a very early morning to go up the forest to hike 15 minutes up, not even in her sneakers, but her formal shoes with her PJs on, nothing on her hands to indicate that she tried to pull the knife out or try to defend herself, nothing. And that it happened so fast that she did not see this coming at all. Not to mention, the suspect most likely watched the victim die and then made sure that she was really gone and stabbed her 2 more times. Now let's get to know Kim a little better according to family and friends. Now, according to her college friends, they remember her being very popular among the boys because she had that Korean beauty standard. She was petite, only 148 centimeters. She had that like innocent, pure image that, you know, a lot of people in Korea like. And because she was so popular, apparently there were multiple guys, like her colleagues, who confessed to her saying that they liked her, you know, asked her for dates and things like that. Not only that, but she was like the president and the leader of some of the clubs that she joined. So you could see what kind of person that Kim was. And according to her friends, like, she was the type to never have enemies, beef, or drama with anybody. She was pretty quiet. She kept things to herself. Police interviewed 200 people. Anyone that had any suspicions, any contact with Kim, they were interviewed, and apparently all of them were cleared by the police. They had alibis and they were able to confirm what they were doing February 4th. They even interviewed like guys who confessed to her to say that they liked her, but she rejected most of them, and every single one of them were cleared. Now, the family first questioned her ex-boyfriend. Only 14 days exactly, 2 weeks before she broke up with her ex-boyfriend. They met in college, and the peers say that they look so great together, but for some reason Kim did not have any feelings for her ex-boyfriend anymore, and the boyfriend was really distraught. And the sister of Kim, the older sister of Kim, does remember once when they were breaking up that the ex-boyfriend sent some kind of message along the lines, "Even through death, you won't regret it." Police, of course, interviewed the ex-boyfriend, and they did confirm that he was actually in Seoul at the time, February 4th, due to some kind of a family gathering, and he was not in Busan city at the same time. And a documentary crew actually did a simulation to see if it's possible that he had something to do with it and went back to Seoul, and they do not believe that the ex-boyfriend himself could have done this because, again, it is 5 to 6 hour drive. There's also buses and trains, but there was no way that he would have made to Seoul back in time with the confirmed alibi of where he was at. They also checked her cell phone records, and nobody called her, nor did she call anyone to say come out during the early morning. They also checked that she made no plans with nobody that morning nor that day. They checked through all phone call records and found nothing suspicious. So the case that everybody in the family thought that would be solved very soon only went cold, and years went by, and still today it's unsolved. It's been over 20 years. Only other clue that we can go off of was the potential height of the suspect. Now this was determined through the stab wound of Kim. According to professionals, this was such a clean, straight shot that they believe that the suspect had to be around 150 to 165 centimeters in order to get that perfect shot. This was also done in a simulation test, so police were looking for a pretty short male who might have wanted to get a revenge on her. Until the last thing that the family could think of was to do hypnosis. Now remember, the last known person to see the sister, Kim, was the brother, Jay, who was sleeping at the time. Hypnosis sessions in Korea are known to try and bring back memories that might be lost, or memories that you don't know it's there, but it is registered in your brain. Now, apparently, a lot of the times our brain, our bodies actually record almost like a video recording of things that we see and hear, but we might not take as a significance or record in our actual memory. It's as if it's embedded in our subconsciousness, almost like a USB or like a memory card. Like you don't know it's actually being recorded, but they do. Although these sessions are not admissible in court, I believe, kind of like lie detector tests, but they can help witnesses and victims using hypnosis to bring back memories, even including like plate numbers of cars and certain like sounds. Description of possible suspects' faces actually come alive during these hypnosis sessions. Jay, now 16 years later, the hypnosis was being done in 2017. Now this was all recorded as well by the documentary, and it took a long time. Apparently these hypnosis sessions like take hours to do, and sometimes it works for some people and sometimes it doesn't work. After a couple hours of trying, the therapist said, "It's February 4th, 2001. You are now back to your 15-year-old self. What do you see and what do you remember?" Jay says, "Before I fell asleep, I asked my sister if she had any plans tomorrow. She said she's staying home." Then he goes on to talk about what he remembers early that morning. Now, apparently he was half asleep, like he did wake up when this was happening. He remembered his mother first said, "I'm leaving to prayers." Then, soon after, he says that he hears someone knocking on our door. "My sister is leaving the house. I feel cold now. I am huddled up because the cold wind is blowing. The person who's outside is a female. I hear a female voice." That put shivers down my skin. People questioned, what if that female voice you heard was your sister? And he says that, "I am pretty sure it was not my sister's voice. It was someone else's voice." Now, in this case, it's fascinating if it's true that they were able to bring back the memory 16 years ago from a boy who was half asleep, and your body seems to remember like the sensation, like the door being opened, you feel cold. Now, for the first time ever, this was something that the police weren't even really considering, that the suspect might be a female, which might explain the height thing. Remember, they believe that the suspect had to be around 150 to 165 centimeters. That is around a female height. Also makes sense why she ran out in her PJs in just like regular formal slippers, shoes, just threw on a jacket and just left. To be honest, at 6 a.m., 7 a.m., whatever, someone knocks on my door. First of all, if it was a guy, like a crush, someone that had a crush on me, I would slam the door at that person. But we still don't know what was going on in Kim's head because it was a Sunday morning. I mean, did the suspect know that her parents would not be there? Like, was it a coincidence that none of her parents were there, that there were no witnesses, and this person somehow knew that Kim would come and follow them? And her family confirmed that Kim was not the type to exercise. She actually did not like going to the gym or hiking at all. So they don't even understand why she would have been found up there, and can explain why she did not retaliate, why there was no defense wounds, because she was not expecting this at all. Now, I do question this was in the wooden area, so it probably wasn't a completely like flat surface. It was probably kind of uneven, but I'm guessing that the professional took that into consideration, which could also explain why she was not as assaulted as well. If there was a guy that liked her, she rejected, whether it was her ex-boyfriend, it is most likely that someone wanted to take advantage of her, but they didn't. They solely met Kim with one reason: to end her life. The only possible witness was a man during his like high school days. He claims that he was playing video games all night long because it was a weekend, and he went to sleep really early in the morning. Now, he heard a woman scream, and then it ended and went quiet. And he remembers that day because it was really freaky to him to hear a woman scream and then completely gone silent. Now, professionals believe there could have been witnesses who did witness the suspect, but they probably did not see any suspicious thing about this person, because most likely you're looking for like a suspicious looking man who might have done this. But if it's a normal looking female, I mean, who would suspect it? The only thing the professionals can guess from the characteristics of the suspect, and because the stab wounds were so clean, they also relate this to like psychology and how the suspect probably lives day to day. It is potentially someone that nobody suspects that they have a dark side to them. That like nice looking, quiet person, hence the reason why this person may never have been questioned by the police. Her friends could not guess at all who it could be. She had no enemies. She was not the person to have dramas with. That you can't even refer this person to be investigated because they're so good at hiding it. I think that's like so much scarier. Kim's entire family was eliminated as potential suspects from the police. They also did a luminal test inside of their house and found no blood spatters or anything. Now, one little speculation could be that because the wounds were so clean, someone had to know exactly what they were doing. There was a fencing major class in Kim's school, so they believe could have been like a fencing major person who knows how to wield a knife. Maybe it was someone that she was not close to, but this person was just secretly psychotic and crazy, that they just had this like crazy animosity towards her, and she trusted this person. Took her all the way up 15 minutes to the forest and just randomly just ended her life. Now, this case is still open today, and police are still trying to receive any tips, any clues, but unfortunately, because it happened over 20 years ago and the place that they were living in have been renovated, people have moved, I mean, their memories are gone, and unfortunately any evidence is gone. And I do think if this happened in 2023, definitely the suspect would have been caught. So the thing that a lot of people believe is that it could be a female friend or a colleague or a 동생, someone younger than her at school that was jealous of her because she had a lot of male attention. Maybe it was someone that she did not suspect or was close to that liked a boy that liked Kim, and she was really jealous. But at the same time, it's like, I mean, would that kind of jealousy really drive someone to do that kind of dark stuff? Was it someone that maybe Kim said something, like she got angry at a colleague and this person really did not like what Kim said to them? And now I personally believe that the suspect is someone that was not as close to Kim as her other friends. I believe it was someone with enough distance from Kim so that nobody suspect this person, but they just had this immense anger and hatred towards her for whatever reason. I want to know your opinion. Is there any clue or something that we haven't noticed that you guys can kind of like point out? Do you guys have any experience where within your college or in your work there was someone that you weren't even that close to that just hated you or had animosity towards you for whatever reason? Maybe that can also help us to see what other potential suspects are out there. I mean, this suspect could have immigrated to the US because of the potential of being caught. They might not even be in the country anymore, and this person might be living among us, and that's one of the reasons why it is so important to talk about these cases globally, just in case you know anything. Thank you so much for watching, and see you on my next video.